Welcome, everybody. This is Barry O'Reilly. I'm delighted to join you all on the Volkswagen Financial Services program. And what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of minutes is just sharing with you a mural, which is one of the tools I often use when delivering these programs, really just to walk you through, what the program is about, how you may be participating, some of the tools we'll be using, the modules that we'll cover, and some of the methods that I use to deliver the program. And you also have a chance to learn more a little bit about me by either going to my website, barryoreilly.com, listening to some of my podcasts that you'll find there, or maybe reading some of the books that I've written. This is often a fun and engaging program. We'll be doing this over the next sort of 8 weeks. So I'm really delighted that you're taking this sort of program with me, and it should be lots of fun as we go along. So if anyone's not familiar with Mural, it's a really interesting remote collaboration tool. I'm sure lots of you are working remotely for the first time. This is a fantastic tool that I've been using over the last number of years to create essentially digital whiteboards or working areas that can be highly engaging, lots of fun, and I'm looking forward to sort of showing how this tool works with you over the next couple of weeks. So we'll start off about looking about, what is this activity that we're actually going to spend some time about on here. And really, what I talk about with the program is this is about us planning, understanding how to get an overview of what the program's about, defining who the participants of the program will be, the tools that we'll be using, the agendas, and various each module. So hopefully it'll give you a good chance to understand what it's about, what you'll learn, what you'll take away from this. The meetings will be on Thursdays, starting June 18th. We'll run for 8 weeks. The sessions will start at 4 p.m. London time. They'll end at 5 p.m. I really encourage you, if you can, try and get there 5 minutes early. I'll be there early, so we're ready to start on time. The intention of the program is really about creating coaches and a community to drive transformation inside VWFS. And lots of sort of the desired outcomes as well that we'll be shooting for. It's really about creating an immersive learning and experience for you all. We'll be defining some of the business outcomes for the key initiatives that you're working on in the actual first module. But then we're trying to really improve your organizational innovation systems, activate leaders, accelerate adoption, and create the capability to coach others. Maybe you might have some other outcomes you think are important. I'll be sharing this mural with you ahead of our first class. If you want to add some in here, please by all means do. And there'll be some basic ground rules as well about the way we work. Some examples here you'll see are just having your webcam turned on, try to signal, can you hear people, can you not hear people? As best we can, trying to find a quiet working environment, and if you can be muted, when you're not talking. So again, these are just some basic ground rules. If there's others that you think would be important and you'd like to sort of apply for our time working, again, I'd invite you add those here. So in terms of the participants, what's very exciting is that we've got a very broad range here. We've got people from HR, IT, insurance, lots of different disciplines that you'll notice over here that I've tried to capture. And so what I'm going to invite everybody to try and do over the course of next week is, add your photo to this board, who you are, where you're based, and the department that you're in. So you've seen already that Andy and David here have added themselves. I've added me, where they are. And this is just a small chance for us to all get to know each other and who's participating in the program over time. In terms of the toolbox we'll be using, a lot of people now are starting to get access from Microsoft Teams inside VWFS. So we'll be using that as much as possible for sharing any files or worksheets that you're doing internally. I'll be not sending files to you. We won't be doing that. But any information you're creating internally, I'll either share directly that you can put it onto your team site. But again, I'd encourage you to create spaces you can collaborate on. We'll be using Zoom primarily for the advantages of breakout rooms are really good. We'll be doing lots of smaller activities you break into. So I think whether you access Zoom on your personal device or another device, I'd encourage you to do that. It will be fully secured with a password that only we can access, so you can be safe in the knowledge that nobody will be Zoom bombing us. We'll have the meetings put in your schedules. Muriel will be one of our tools. I'll also be sharing slide decks and so forth to guide the presentation that I'll share with you afterwards. David will be sending out some notes specifically on how to test all these tools to make sure they're working for you in advance. So keep an eye out for that. Next is really sort of diving into the whole program. And the program is two main components. We've got the program schedule here. There's the participants, which is there's 18 people that will be taking part in the program, but I'll also be doing sessions with your board as well. And these aren't designed to be exclusive, they're designed to support one another. So I'll take you through the modules both that we'll be doing for the participants, but also the modules we'll be doing with the board to give you a sense of both the learning outcomes and some of the tools that you'll be using. So in terms of the participant sessions, we'll be starting off with measuring success, which is really about helping you clarify the impact, outcomes, and outputs of your initiatives, focusing on leading and lagging indicators, vanity, and actionable metrics. And I often say this is one of the toughest modules. We often do it first because it really builds a strong shared understanding of how we'll be working together over the weeks ahead. So some of the tools you'll see on that module will be talking about one-page press releases that you may be familiar with from Amazon as a method that they use to define products. We'll do a metrics table where you'll start to look at the metrics that you have and try and segregate them into outputs, outcomes, leading, lagging indicators, and how you can actually align all your strategy and execution. So this is just a simple example for the first module that we'll be focused on. And you can see over the modules ahead at the top what we'll be focusing on, from hypothesis-driven development, prioritization, roadmaps, and so forth. And the other thing to bear in mind is we may do the first three modules and reprioritize. So think again, this is a backlog. This is what we're going to start with. We'll learn as we go, and we may adapt over time. So nothing to be concerned about if we do that. It's actually a good thing. In terms of the sessions I'll be doing with the board members, the two main focuses for them will be around leadership and strategic capability. We'll be doing these two sessions in parallel of the 8 weeks that I do with you. And some of the key focuses for them really are about leadership and the behavior changes they need to institute, as well as strategy and how to apply that to leading transformations for themselves. So as I said, this is sort of a virtuous to support one another. You'll be learning together. We may adapt the program over time, but this is what we're going to start with. So now that we've got a sense of, what's the purpose of the program, who's participating, some of the tools we'll use, and what the curriculum is, the last bit is really like the method I use to deliver this. And I think this is probably the notion that anyone involved in this program, often the danger is people feel like they're only got an hour a week with me. But what I would be encouraging you all to think about is that this program, there's the content that we teach in the class, but there's the pre-work that you should be doing and the post-work that you should be doing. So there's actually a number of hours involved in being part of this program. And invariably, what I always find is the people that sort of set up the systems, that as soon as you do the module, you've got to follow up with your group, and then a bit of pre-prep for the next session. You really just get a lot more out of it. And if you can get into that system from the start, both looking at the content I'll be providing, the exercises you'll be asked to do, as well as pre and post reading, you can get a huge amount out of this time together, and often surprises people. So in terms of like prep work, often what you'll see before each session is that I'll be giving you the exercises and references to look at before your work. And when we do modules and you've homework to do, I'll be asking you to try and provide that 24 hours ahead of the next module. Any questions that spin up as a result of your work, David will help correlate those into the top 3 questions we might want to tackle in the subsequent session. And there'll be lots of articles, podcasts, blogs that you can learn and read about in your own time. So this is all pre-work for each session. I imagine you would have a session. We're meeting on Thursdays in person. I imagine on Tuesday, you should put an hour aside as a group to sort of go through some of these. In terms of delivering the module, each day we'll sort of, we have together, we've an hour together each time. There'll be an initial sort of kickoff. I will start specifically right on time. We won't be waiting for people to join. There'll be a quick recap for the first 10 minutes where I just review questions from the last session, try and address those or point people in other directions. Then we'll spend 40 minutes looking at content and doing some early versions of exercises that you'll do the week ahead. Then there'll be reflections from the class, things that you want to talk about, and then conclude. And this will be the sort of rhythm of every class. Just a recap of last week, new ideas for this week, confirming you understand the homework for the week ahead, and closing out well. And then the last step is like, well, what happens after the class? And this is, again, where I would be encouraging you. We're meeting on Thursdays. I'd encourage you to make time on Friday where you really, go back and reflect on what we did in the class and dive deeper, and actually work the exercises as a group, share with one another, get started and applying them in your work. And I think that becomes a really, really powerful mechanism. If you're like class on Thursday, follow-up session on Friday, get your homework done by Tuesday, ready for Thursday. I think it becomes a really powerful sort of operating system as we go along. So this is really the sort of method. You'll see us be doing this over the 8 weeks together. There's lots of chance as we go along. I'll be asking you just to even reflect on this little session that I shared. What was helpful? What could have been better? What would you like to hear different next time? If you were going to get an onboarding session. And again, if you're keen to learn more, there's lots of different ways that you can sort of connect with me. Go to my website. I'll add you all to newsletters, specific mail outs. And if you're interested to learn more about Mural itself, it's a great tool. You can go and have a look at those on there. So again, I'm looking forward to kicking off with you next Thursday. I hope you have a great weekend. Should be lots of fun and looking forward to learning together. All right, take care. Thank you very much.